How are you guys doing? Today is Friday, July 9th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Thursday, July 8th, 2021. And of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on for today. And because the NHL is official, the 2020-2021 NHL season is officially over, I'm going to get started with Game 2 of the 2021 NBA Finals that took place in Phoenix, Arizona. In this matchup, the Western Conference champs, the second seed Phoenix Suns, were able to beat the Eastern Conference champs, the 3 seed Milwaukee Bucks, 118-108, as they were able to take a 2-0 series lead. The big difference in this game would be the second quarter, as the Suns outscored the Bucks 30-16 by 14 points. The rest of the quarters were pretty even. For the Milwaukee Bucks in this matchup, their leading scorer was their elite starting power forward, two-time NBA MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. He would finish with 42 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks in 40 minutes, as he shot 15 for 22 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and 11 for 18 from the foul line. For the Phoenix Suns in this matchup, their leading scorer was their elite starting shooting guard out of Kentucky, Devin Booker. He finished with 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in 44 minutes, as he shot 12 for 25 from the field and 7 for 12 from 3. Their starting small forward out of Villanova, Mikal Bridges, would finish with 27 points and 7 rebounds in 38 minutes. He shot 8 for 15 from the field and a perfect 8 for 8 from the foul line. And then their elite starting point guard out of Wake Forest, Chris Paul, would finish with 23 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and 6 turnovers in 41 minutes. He shot 10 for 20 from the field and 3 for 5 from 3. With this win, the Phoenix Suns now hold a 2-0 series lead over the Eastern Conference champs, as Game 3 will be played on the 11th in Milwaukee, just to get a hint of what the NBA is looking like. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB, as we look at the Diamonds, starting off in Miami. The Miami Marlins hosted the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers were able to pull off a 6-1 win after scoring 5 of their 6 runs in the 5th inning. For the Miami Marlins in this matchup, the start and the loss went to Sandy Alcantara. He allowed 5 runs in 4 innings pitched, as he struck out 5. With this loss, he's 4-8 on the year. In their batting lineup, their right fielder Garrett Cooper would go 2 for 4. Their shortstop Miggy Rojas would end up going 2 for 4 as well. For the defending champs Los Angeles Dodgers, the start went to their starting pitcher, Julio Urias. Urias allowed 1 earned run in 7 innings pitched, as he struck out 9. With this win, Julio Urias is now 11-3 as a starting pitcher. In their batting lineup, their elite right fielder Mookie Betts would go 2 for 5 with a run. Their first baseman Max Muncy would go 2 for 5 with a run. Their left fielder Matt Beatty would be 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. And their second baseman Chris Taylor would go 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run for himself. With this win, the defending champs Los Angeles Dodgers are now 54-34. That is the second best record in the National League West. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They now trail the San Francisco Giants by a game in the division. They now hold the top seed in the National League wild card, as they sit 3 games ahead of the second place San Diego Padres. With this win, the Miami Marlins are now 38-48. That is the worst record in the National League East, as they have now lost 5 of their last 10 games. They now trail the New York Mets by 8.5 games in the division, to give a sense of where they are, as they hold the 4th worst record in the National League. Jumping out to Houston, the Houston Astros hosted the Oakland Athletics, and the A's were able to beat the Astros 2-1, as the A's 2 runs would come in the first inning. For the Houston Astros in this matchup, the start and the loss went to Lance McCullers Jr. Lance McCullers Jr. would allow 2 earned runs in 7 innings pitched, as he struck out 8. With this loss, Lance McCullers Jr. is 6-2 on the season. In their batting lineup, their first baseman, Yuli Gurriel, would go 2 for 4, and then their center fielder, Chas McCormick, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI. For the Oakland Athletics, the start and the win went to Frankie Montas. He allowed 1 earned run in 6.2 innings pitched, as he struck out 10. The save would end up going to the A's closer, Jake Diekman, as he allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched, as he picked up his 7th save of the season. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Ramon Laureano, would go 2 for 5 on the day. Their shortstop, Elvis Andrus, would go 2 for 5 with a run. Their designated hitter, Jed Lowry, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI as well. With this win, the Oakland Athletics are now 50-39. That is the second best record in the American League West, as they have won 4 of their last 10 games. and they now trail the Houston Astros by 4.5 games in the division. The Oakland Athletics are now holding on to the second seed in the American League wild card as they now trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 2 games for the first spot, and they now sit 3.5 games ahead of the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners, as those are the 2 teams on the outside looking in. With this loss, the Houston Astros are now 54-34. That is the best record in the American League West at the moment, as they are holding on to the second seed in the American League. They've only lost 4 of their last 10 games, as they now sit 4.5 games ahead of the second place Oakland Athletics in the division. Jumping out to Phoenix, the Arizona Diamondbacks hosted the Colorado Rockies as the Rockies were able to pull off a 9-3 come-from-behind win to beat the Diamondbacks. For the D-backs in this matchup, the start would end up going to Jake Faria. Faria allowed 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The loss for Arizona would end up going to their first relief pitcher, Jordan Weems. Weems allowed 2 earned runs in an inning pitched as he struck out 2. After blowing his first save of the season, he's now 0-1 on the season as a relief pitcher. In their batting lineup, their left fielder, Josh Rojas, would end up going 2 for 5 for the day. And then their right fielder, Josh Reddick, would end up going 2 for 3 on the day. Those are the only 2 players with more than 1 hit for the team. For the Colorado Rockies, the start and the win went to Chichi Gonzalez. He allowed 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this win, Chichi Gonzalez is 3-5 on the season as a starting pitcher. In their batting lineup, their left fielder, Raimel Tapia, would end up going 2 for 5 with a run. Their third baseman, Ryan McMahon, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs on the day. And then their catcher, who on the day was Dom Nunez, would end up going 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. With this win, the Colorado Rockies are now 38-50. That is the 4th best record in the National League West, as they've won 7 of their last 10 games. They now trail the San Francisco Giants by 17 games in the division, and with this loss, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 25-64. That is now the worst record in the National League West, the worst record in the National League, and that is still the worst record in all of baseball. They have now lost 7 of their last 10 games, as they now trail the San Francisco Giants by 30.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Seattle, the Seattle Mariners hosted the New York Yankees and were able to pull off a 4-0 home win, just blanking the Yankees, holding them to only 1 hit all game. For the Yankees, the start and the loss went to Jordan Montgomery. Jordan Montgomery would allow 3 earned runs in 6.2 innings pitched as he struck out 9. With this loss, Jordan Montgomery is 3-4 on the season. In their batting lineup, the only player that registered a hit was their elite designated hitter, Giancarlo Stanton. A lot of that can be attributed to great pitching from Seattle. For Seattle, the start and the win went to Logan Gilbert as he allowed no earned runs and only 1 hit in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 8. With this win, Logan Gilbert is 3-2 on the season, and in their batting lineup, their right fielder Mitch Haniger would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Haniger would hit his 19th home run of the season. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are now 46-42. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West, as they've won 5 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Houston Astros by 8 games in the division, and alongside the Toronto Blue Jays, they trail the Oakland Athletics by 3.5 games for the second wildcard spot. With this loss, the New York Yankees are now 44-42. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They've now lost 6 of their last 10 games, as they now trail the Boston Red Sox by 4 games in the division. They now trail the Oakland Athletics by 4.5 games for the second wildcard spot alongside the Los Angeles Angels. Jumping out to Cleveland, the Cleveland Indians hosted the Kansas City Royals, and after scoring 3 runs in the 8th and 3 runs in the 9th, the Indians were able to come from behind and pick up their 43rd win of the season. For the Kansas City Royals, the start ended up going to Danny Duffy. He allowed 1 earned run in 5 innings pitched as he struck out 5. The loss went to the Royals closer for the day, Greg Holland. Holland would go on to allow 3 earned runs in .2 innings pitched as he struck out a batter. With this loss, Greg Holland is 2-4 on the year. In their batting lineup, their first baseman, Carlos Santana, would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 14th and 15th home runs of the season. Their third baseman, Hunter Dozier, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 8th home run of the year. And then their center fielder, Michael Taylor, would go 2 for 4 with a run. For the Cleveland Indians, the start went to Zach Plesac. He allowed 3 earned runs in 4 innings pitched as he struck out 4. The win would go to the Indians closer on the day, James Karinchak, as he allowed 1 earned run in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. With this win, he's now 5-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, their first baseman, who in this game was Bobby Bradley, would end up going 2 for 2 with an RBI and 2 runs. Bradley hit his 9th home run of the season. With this win, the Cleveland Indians are now 43-42. That is the second best record in the American League Central. They've only won one of their last 10 games as they now trail the Chicago White Sox by 7.5 games in the division. They currently trail the Oakland Athletics by 5 games for the second wild card spot at the moment. With this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 36-51. That is the worst record in the American League Central. That is the third worst record in the American League. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They now trail the Chicago White Sox by 15.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Chicago, but not for the White Sox, the Chicago Cubs hosted the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Phillies were able to completely blank the Cubs, winning this one 8-0. For the Chicago Cubs, the start and the loss went to Adbert Alzolay as he allowed 4 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, striking out 5. With this loss, he's 4-9 on the year. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit. As for the Philadelphia Phillies, the start and the win went to Zach Eflin. He allowed no earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With his win, he's 4-6 on the year. In their batting lineup, their first baseman Brad Miller would end up going 3 for 5 with 5 RBIs and 3 runs. All 3 of his hits were home runs. He hit his 7th, 8th, and 9th home runs of the season. Their shortstop, Didi Gregorius, would go 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 7th home run of the season. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 42-43. That is the second best record in the National League East. They've now won 6 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the New York Mets by 4 games in the National League East. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are now 43-45. That is the third best record in the NL Central. They've now lost 9 of their last 10 games as they now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 9.5 games in the division. Jumping out to Minneapolis, the Minnesota Twins hosted the Detroit Tigers, and the Twins were able to beat the Tigers 5-3 at home. All 5 of their runs would come between the 5th and 7th inning. For the Detroit Tigers in this matchup, the start and the loss went to Tariq Skubal. He allowed 5 runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 5. With this loss, Skubal is 5-8 on the year. In their batting lineup, their first baseman, Jonathan Scope, would go 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their left fielder, Eric Hayes, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 13th home run of the season. And their future Hall of Fame designated hitter, Miguel Cabrera, would go 2 for 4 on the day. For the Minnesota Twins, the win went to J.A. Happ. He allowed 3 earned runs in 7 innings pitched as he struck out 8. With this win, J.A. Happ is 5-4 on the season, and the save would end up going to Taylor Rogers. Rogers allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out a batter. In their batting lineup, their right fielder, Max Kepler, will go 2 for 3 with a run on the day. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are now 36-50. That is the 4th best record in the AL Central. They've only won 3 of their last 10 games as they now trail the Chicago White Sox by 15 games in the division. With this loss, the Detroit Tigers are now 40-48. That is the 3rd best record in the American League Central as they've lost 4 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Chicago White Sox by 12 games in the division. Jumping out to Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Brewers hosted the Cincinnati Reds, and the Brewers were able to pull off a 5-3 win after breaking the tie in the 8th inning off of an Avisail Garcia 2-run home run. For the Cincinnati Reds, the start went to Tyler Mahle as he allowed 3 earned runs in 6 innings pitched, striking out 6. The save would come in the third period. We'll go to their third relief pitcher on the day, who was Brad Brach. Brack would allow 2 earned runs in 0.1 inning pitched. As with this loss, he's now 0-1 on the year. In their batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their catcher, Tucker Barnhart, as he went 2 for 4 with an RBI. For the Milwaukee Brewers, the start went to Adrian Hauser. Hauser would go on to allow 3 runs in 4.1 innings pitched as he struck out 6. The win went to their elite relief pitcher, Devin Williams, as he allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. With this win, he's now 6-1 on the year. And the save will go to the Brewers' elite closer, Josh Hader. He allowed no earned runs in 1 inning pitched as he struck out 2. That will be his 21st save of the season. With this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 53-36. That is the best record in the National League Central as they've won their last 2 games. They've won 7 of their last 10, and they are also currently holding on to the 2nd seed in the National League at the moment. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are now 45-42. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central. They've lost 4 of their last 10 games. They now trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 7 games in the division, and they currently trail the San Diego Padres by 5.5 games for the 2nd National League wildcard spot, as they are the very first team on the outside looking in. Jumping out to San Diego for the final game of the night, the San Diego Padres hosted the Washington Nationals, the 2019 World Series champs. And in this game that went all the way down to the bottom of the ninth, it would end up being a Trent Grisham walk-off single that wins the Padres their 52nd game of the season. For the Washington Nationals, the start went to their goated starting pitcher, Max Scherzer. He allowed 7 earned runs in 3.2 innings pitched as he struck out 7 batters. The loss would end up going to the Nats closer for the day, who was Sam Clay. Clay would allow 1 earned run in 0.2 innings pitched as he was unable to strike out a batter. With this loss, he's 0-2 on the year. In their batting lineup, their shortstop, Trey Turner, would go 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. He had his 16th and 17th home runs of the season. Their elite right fielder, Juan Soto, would go 2 for 3 with 2 runs. Their third baseman, Starlin Castro, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. With this win, for the San Diego Padres in this matchup, the start went to their elite starting pitcher, Yu Darvish. He allowed 6 earned runs in 3 innings pitched as he struck out 2. The win went to the San Diego Padres closer, Mark Melancon. He would allow no earned runs in 1 inning pitch, and with this win, he's 2-1 on the season. In their batting lineup, their left fielder, Tommy Pham, will go 3 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their elite shortstop, Fernando Tatis Jr., would go 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run as he had his 28th home run of the season. Their center fielder, Trent Grisham, will go 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run as well. And then their pinch-hitting pitcher, actually their sub-pitcher, Daniel Camarena, would end up going 1 for 1 with 4 RBIs and a run as his grand slam in the 4th. That'll be his first hit of the season. That'll be his first career hit off Max Scherzer. And with this win, the San Diego Padres now hold a 52-38 record. That is the 3rd best record in the National League West. They've won 5 of their last 10 games as they now trail the San Francisco Giants by 4 games in the division. They hold the 2nd spot in the National League wild card as they sit 3 games behind the defending champs LA Dodgers, and they sit 5.5 games ahead of the Cincinnati Reds, who are the very first team on the outside looking in. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are now 42-44. Alongside the Atlanta Braves, that is the 3rd best record in the National League East as they've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They now trail the New York Mets by 4.5 games in the division, just to get a glimpse of what the Nationals look like. That is what the MLB is looking like, and that is what the world of sports is looking like, as that is everything that happened from yesterday, Thursday, July 8th. And I want to thank everyone once again for listening to this piece. I want to thank the NBA, the MLB websites as well for helping me get the facts and figures that I need to do this. And with that said, once all of today's episodes and matchups are done, I will come back with another episode once all of today's matchups are done. I want to thank everyone once again for listening to all 18 minutes of this piece. I hope all is well. And I want to thank everyone for listening to my piece. I hope all is well. And I will come back with another episode of The Elite tomorrow once everything's done. Until then, thanks for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.